What about this side? Do you guys care about that video? Do you guys care about that video this side? Let's go. Give it up for Serve Weekend one more time. This side too. We'll get everybody. That's how. Man, that feels good. That sounds good. All because one church left the building. We are the church, and man, we exist to continue to introduce people to Jesus, cultivate a community of genuine followers pursuing the way he did life. And I love that. And not only that, we just did that, but within the last 6 months, we did what was called Christmas Giveaway as well. At Christmas Giveaway, we really helped 60 families in need. And so we've gotten to do some really cool, some really special things. And that doesn't include really just the ability to continue to do Sunday services week in and week out and week in and week out. And we just continue to show up and show out and hit home runs. I mean, we don't miss around here, right? Right? Like, right? Man, when the pastor starts begging for applause. No, please don't golf clap me ever. I hate more than that. Just be silent. Be silent or clap all out. Don't do the golf clap for in church, okay? Do it on a golf course. But, first I want to thank those, because those of you who give, those of you who have continued to give, it's because of you that we're able to do all this. It's because of you that we're able to do the Sunday mornings. It's because of you that we're able to continue to do things like Serve Weekend. It's because of you that we're able to continue to do these types of things and continue to have this types of output. And so I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And actually, I just want the church, there are times where we thank the serve teams. There's times where we thank other people that incorporate. But I just want everybody to thank those who have really continuously given. Go ahead, give it up for those who give. It's why you're able to sit here and get so much. Give it up a little bit louder. It's because of their generosity that you're able to get something today. I really want to thank you for those who give. And last week, we continued to talk about being the church and being the light in our community. But the reality is we could talk about doing it with our time and energy, which is really good. But at some point, you have to sit down at that table. You got to pull out your coffee. You got to pull out your cookie or whatever you need. And you have to open your bank account. And you have to ask the question, can we sustain the things that we've been doing? Can we sustain? Does this make sense with everybody? Like everybody knows how to work a budget? Some of us, I'm looking around, you've never done the budget before. That's why you run out of money. You need to sit down, you need to look at it, you need to go over it, and you need to do this. If we want to be a force for goodness, time and energy will go a long way, but at some point you have to have the money conversation. So I'm going to show you some numbers, and we're going to be really transparent. And the reason is because I believe we are on the precipice. We are on the precipice. We're not far away. We can continue to do some really incredible, good things, and I believe we could do something really special right here now, but I know this, we have to do it together. We have to do it together. And I'll tell you why, because my 10% only goes so far. My 10% only goes so far. What's the 10%? Pastor Danielle talked about the tithe, right? She talked about the 10th. That's what the 10% is. It's a tithe. And that tithe, right, it literally means a tenth of one's incomes. It's a biblical and universal concept of how much one could give of their income. It's like the potluck idea we talked about a couple weeks ago. When everybody comes and brings their little bit or brings their portion, there's a bunch to go around, and this thing continues to happen. But when people don't come, we end up protecting out of scarcity rather than giving out of abundance, right? And so my household income right now is around $80,000. That's our whole household income. That's, what do we just call it? That's utterly transparent. There you go. I just laid it right out there for you, okay? That's my household income. Now, that means last year I tithed about $8,000. This year I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to tithe around $8,000 again to New Life. And I want to break it down further. So you could ask me, where does that $8,000 go? Okay, well, let's talk about it. And again, we're going to be really transparent. We just went over our budget actually with the church board for this upcoming year. So this is a great time for us to go, here's what we're looking at for the next year. Let's bring it to the community. Let's bring it to the body of people here. And let's take a look at it. So for starters, we have this building. This building it's a beautiful building. We love this building. We're able to do multiple services. Right now, run 2 services. We have Kidsmen. We have all the things we're able to do. But this building's not paid off. And it has operations and monies that require us to put money into the building to keep it standing. So mortgage and operations equals about $227,105. That's just mortgage and operations. It ain't cheap to have a building like this. Now, that's just for mortgage and operations. Again, what does that cover? That covers things like utilities. It covers software. It covers lawn care, snow removal. There's bank charges. Again, this is basically all the operations and mortgage, things that we really can't do anything about. That is just the price that it is. We don't get to, go negotiate and get a lower price. That is the negotiated lower price, is what you're looking at. There's not much wiggle room here. We've done everything we can to lower this number, and it is what it is to have a building like this. And again, just to remind you, that's just mortgage and operations. That doesn't do anything that actually makes you want to come into the building. That's just an empty building, right? That doesn't make you actually want to show up on a Sunday morning. That doesn't allow for great, life-giving community. That's just an empty shell of a building. It's like, when was the last time you went out to the abandoned building on Factory Street and decided to just roll around and rump around? Oh, don't rump around. I don't know where that comes from. Roll around and rump around in the Factory Street. Okay, we're moving on. When was the last time basically you walked into an empty building and was like, yeah, we'll just hang out here for a while, okay? Maybe when you were like 15 years old. But that's not what you do. You wouldn't want to be here if it was just a big empty building. So that doesn't include the things that go into it to make it a life-giving community. Things like, let's name a couple. Things like kids ministry. Thank God for kids ministry, right? By a raise of hands, let me just get a raise of hands. How many parents in the room? How many parents? Okay, so the applause should have been a lot louder for kids ministry. Like, if there's that many parents, I don't think you understand. Somebody took your terrible little child and they said, I'm going to watch them for an entire hour, 10 minutes, hour, 15 minutes, so that you could be alone, sit in the presence of God during worship, listen to the rest of this message, and typically get a lot of life and joy and hope out of a message, and then we shout kids ministry and it's a little golf clap. No, let's give it up for kids ministry and thank them. Thank you. Kids ministry. Things like growth track, things like small groups, things like worship. Give it up. That worship was amazing today, right? Things like production, things like first impressions, things like cafe, things like Velocity, which is our middle school ministry, Velocity right now, which Josh just told me he thinks they have like 20 kids up there right now. So again, thank God that 20 middle schoolers have somewhere to get their little whatever their thing energy thing is out. And their Sunday service supplies, right? Now, that's just for this Sunday morning stuff, but that's a big list. That's a long list. But we also have all these highlight events and services we do as well. Events like Mother's Day and Father's Day. See, that's why we have kids ministry. Thank God for kids ministry, right? Amen. Okay, but it's okay. That's a little baby. That's a little baby. We got to keep them in here. Keep them with mom. The highlight events and services we do. Events like Mother's Day and Father's Day. Why? Because we want every mother to come in and feel appreciated and loved, even if they're not getting something. So we give a little gift to every mother. We give a little gift to every father. We do these photo booth moments so all the moms can leave so happy. Those things aren't free. Shocking. We do New Friends Dessert. New Friends Dessert is about welcoming brand new people into our community. We do things like The Gathering. One more plug for The Gathering. It's this Friday. If you haven't signed up, there's something wrong with you. If you're a lady and you haven't signed up, if you're a guy and you haven't signed up, there's something right with you. It's not for you. Leave it alone. There's events like Spring Fest and Fall Fest. Easter, right? We put a lot into Easter and the Easter service. We talk about Summer at the Movies. Summer at the Movies is coming up. Last year was so awesome. I'm really excited to do it again. And events like Volunteer Appreciation. Now, this doesn't include everything. Look at that list. Don't put the next thing up yet. Just look at that list. That's a lot. That's a lot of things. And we do all of that, all events, services, and ministries. Not everything's listed there, but we tried to get a lot of it. All the events, all the services, and all the ministry equals, go ahead, put it up now, $40,050. $40,050. The people who are saying that's amazing, that's cheap, are people who have run organizations and people who have done some back-end church life before. Because if you don't know the picture based on that, $40,050, if you don't understand, I'm going to help you. What you've been getting is you've been getting Chick-fil-A on a Burger King budget. That's what you've been getting for the last 2 years. You've been getting Chick-fil-A on a Burger King budget. Let me just give you a little more context. I came from a church in Florida. My last year of being at that church in Florida, I was running a high school group. We were around 150 students to 200 students. My budget just for the high school ministry alone, the budget I was given was $50,000. $50,000. That didn't include middle school. That didn't include growth track. That wasn't for small groups. That wasn't for any other portal in the entirety of the church. That was just for my high school ministry. It was $50,000. That did not include my salary, which I was making $68,000 at the time. That didn't include I had an admin who was full-time, who was making money. I had a middle school director who was part-time paid to run the middle school on Sunday mornings and also part-time paid to be there as a support for the high school. And that didn't include a paid intern that I got as well. All to run a youth group for 150 to 200 high school brat holes. No, it didn't. I'm allowed to say it. I did it for 11 years full-time. I love them more than they know, but they're a bunch of brat holes. That was all just to do that, right? Right now, what we're looking at our church size is easily 600 plus. We're hitting a lot of times 650 plus on the weekend. Yeah, you can give it up for that, 650 plus. Okay, so when we talk about that we're doing that for $40,000 and I was doing the youth group for $50,000, and by the way, I was going to my exec pastor and telling him, if you want us to get to $250 or $300, you're going to have to fork some more money out because I know what it takes to grow this thing. That's the reality. So you've been getting more than Chick-fil-A on a Burger King budget, but we'll leave it there because it's funny and I like it. Now, on top of that, we also roughly have 6 full-time paid staff members. Now, we have more than this. We probably have 11 or 12 total people on our compensation list, but it equates to 6 full-time paid staff members. We have 5 full-time, we have 2 part-time, we have 1 Sundayer. Those are the bulk of our staff, but we also have some bookkeeping people, some maintenance, a little budget for maintenance, and some other things, just try to keep us going and keep us rolling. But all of that included, that total compensation for everybody to run this equals $343,700. So again, that doesn't include all 11. Even if you work, because I'm not going to dispose everybody's salary, but even if you were to divide that by the 8, you're still looking at about $57,000 per on average per full-time person, which is below the median income in our area. Why am I making that a point? Why am I saying that? Because of this. Nobody's getting rich off of this community. Nobody's getting rich off of this community. Nobody's getting rich off this community. Yet, nobody's eating black beans yet to survive. All right? And I'm not going to ask them to. Hopefully you wouldn't want them to. Although I've talked to some crazy, nasty church people who think their pastors should be eating black beans to survive. Okay? Little nasties. I don't care. I'm letting it hang. Now, if you take our $343,700 for compensation, and then you take the $267,155 for mortgage, operations, and ministry, it comes out to a whopping $610,855. Again, this pays staff. It maintains the building. It's any and all payments for the building. It runs pretty much everything you see on Sunday mornings and ministry events. And some of us might look at that figure and go, that's a lot of money. And you'd be right, especially if you're only looking at my $8,000. At this point, you'd be like, thanks a lot, Pastor Joseph, for the toilet paper in the bathrooms. I'm so happy that you paid for that for us to wipe our butts on Sunday. All right? But that's because you're only looking at mine. But let's continue to be utterly transparent. Let's not just be transparent with our church finances. Let's be transparent with y'all's finances. Ooh, you reach into our cookie jar. Now I'm reaching into, no, okay, I'll leave you alone a little bit. But let's be transparent. The average household income in Jefferson County is $74,606. $74,606. We have easily, actually, we believe now we have around 250 or 260 families, but we wanted to go lower on the math just to make this calculation easier. We have easily 220 families attending New Life. Now, What did we talk about? A tithe. Tithe, 10%, $74,606. If you take 10% of that, you come up with $7,460. If you have $7,460 per year times 220 families, that equals $1,641,200. We only need $610,000. We only need this, and we could, if everybody just bought in, we'd have that, but you'd be right. You might go, but that's the average household income. There's a lower number out there. Okay, cool, let's play your game. There's a median household income, and that's more realistic. You're right, that is more realistic. Maybe not, I don't know. Average seems pretty realistic. But let's keep playing. Median. Okay, the median household is $58,200, right? $58,200. So if we take a tithe off of the median household income, which is the lower one we could come to, that's $5,820 per year. $5,820 per year. And we're not timesing it by 260. We're still taking the lower number. So this is the lower number and the lower number times 220. Still equals, the answer is, daily double, $1,280,400. $1,280,400. That's still more than double. That's $610,000, and that's us all tithing off of a median income. Why am I talking about this? Why am I getting passionate about this all of a sudden? Because if we actually all brought into the storehouse, remember that verse Pastor Daniela read about Malachi 3, and God said, test me in this. If you all come and bring that 10% into the storehouse, watch me do what I do. It's because when you actually even talk about the numbers, Malachi 3 is like, test me in this. It actually stacks up. I do the test, we do the calculation, and we're able to not just sustain Sunday mornings, we keep offering hope and life and the joy of Jesus Christ in this house week in and week out and week in and week out, but also we're able to add something like a high school youth group, and we get to go reach a whole nother demographic in our community. Not only that, we could keep filling more and more needs, in-house needs. Do you know there are people that walk into this church every single week, and they give us phone calls and they send us emails, and they're actually in need, like actual tangible need. And you know what our heart is? Not to get rich off of this community. Our heart is to be able to say yes to needs. But I'm going to tell you the actual truth, because just like the potluck thing we talked about last week, we have often been protecting out of scarcity more than able to give out of abundance. And it's because only about 30% are actually in the place of giving. So we're protecting. And people are calling us, and we are actually having to measure more need. It's needs, real needs in our community. And we're having to try to measure. We're getting 2, 3, 4 phone calls and going, which one's the most? And then we have to go say no to the rest. But the money, that's a lie that we can't do it. No. If everybody bought in at even a $5,000 rate per year, we would have more than enough to go around. We'd be able to keep doing all these Sunday services. We'd be able to continue to meet needs in-house. We'd be able to keep meeting needs locally through our partnerships with Urban Mission and Credo and Habitat for Humanity. And we'd be able to keep doing it globally as well. We could make the change we say we want to see in the world. We have the power to do it. We can change the world. And all it comes down to is actually everybody buying in and simply tithing. It's true. It's just the numbers. Not only would we be able to keep running our Sunday mornings at a high level and continue to give hope, life, and joy, but we're able to continue to do right by others locally, globally, and in-house in powerful ways. We could actually do what Matthew 25 talks about. You remember Matthew 25? We're going to read it really fast. We're going to read it really quick. Read it, put it up. I'm going to read it fast. Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father. Take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. And then check this out. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to... I was thirsty, and you gave me something to... I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you... I was sick, and you... I was in prison, and you came to... Then the righteous will answer him, and I love this part. Lord, when did we see you? The righteous, the ones who think they did life well, the ones who walk around with their chests puffed out, the ones who think, I got something, I really did it. The righteous ones, the ones who are a little bit arrogant about it. The righteous answer, Lord, when did I see you? I never saw somebody come and tell me, my name is Jesus Christ, and if you clothe me, you'll make it in. I never saw someone say, Jesus is in jail, come visit me, Yeshua. I never saw that. And I love that he adds this. And it says, when did we answer? Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you? And then I love this. The king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the, everybody say it, least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. In other words, it isn't about finding Jesus. It isn't about finding the tangible, physical person of Jesus. It's about meeting needs right here. And I'm trying to tell you that that's what our heart is. I'm trying to tell you that that's what we want to do. I'm trying to tell you that we want to clothe the naked, that we want to feed the hungry. I'm trying to tell you that we want to invite people into the presence of Jesus in this place week in and week out. And we want to keep that going. And we want people to walk in and we want people to walk out full of life and full of hope and full of joy. We want all of that and we want to keep filling needs. We want to keep doing it. And it's going to come down to every single person actually buying in and giving to it. That's what it's going to come down to. Because I'm going to tell you the reality of our situation today, right? We have all types of vision. We do. We have all types of needs we want to fill. We do. We have all types of life, love, joy, hope, and peace that we want to give away. We do. But the reality, did you notice the gap? Go ahead, put that pie chart back up. Did you notice that? We have mortgage and operations, 227,105. We have all ministries, 40,000. We have total compensation, 343,007. And then there's a gap. Do you know what that gap is? That gap is there to represent that instead of making double of what we could by everybody pitching in their tithe, instead we're projecting to lose $55,000 this year. Last service, there was a little girl. She sat right there and she went, and then I had everybody gasp, so we're going to do it too. On the count of three, everybody gasp. 1, 2, 3. We're projected to lose $55,000 this year, and we have combed the numbers. Some of you went, well, you didn't budget what? We have combed the numbers. We have made, I'm going to say this, we have made every cut we can make without firing someone, cutting a ministry, or cutting missions altogether. I'm going to say that one more time. We have made every cut we could possibly make to this point without firing someone, cutting a ministry, or cutting missions altogether. We've had multiple organizations, outside organizations, look over our numbers. In fact, I've had two different people come to me and look at our numbers. We showed them our numbers, and they said, how are you doing what you're doing? The last time, there was one time where the person just threw up our sheet in front of me. They just threw it and they said, there's no way. There's no plausible way you're pulling off what you're pulling off with those numbers. The other one had just seen our Sunday service and said, I cannot fathom how you're pulling off that type of a Sunday service looking at the numbers I'm looking at. Oh, and they had just seen the gathering too. And they were like, there's no way you're pulling off ministries like this with this amount of money. It's impossible. That's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at. We've had multiple outside organizations look it over. We've had our board look it over. We've been incredibly diligent and meticulous. And we have enough money currently. You might say, well, how are you projecting for a loss? Because we have just enough money currently in savings for us to hold this pace for one more year. Not two, but one. Not two, but one. So that's where we're at. And I'm going to tell you why I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful. Honestly, I'm still hopeful because I believe that there's going to be people in this room that rise up. I also am really hopeful in God. I believe in God, and I believe in his goodness. I just believe in him. I actually am one of the crazy ones. When things look bleak, I go, God will figure it out. Not passively. I work my tail off, But then at the end, when I have no energy left and it's time to go to bed, I'll give it to God. And I just believe that he wants this. I also believe in this church. I believe in this church community. I believe we are the greatest expression of Jesus in this community. If I didn't believe that, I'd be doing something different. Or we'd be doing something different. I am the lead pastor. So if I didn't believe it, I'd be like, whoop, we better switch. we better get it because we're following Jesus. And I believe we're the greatest expression of Jesus in this community. So I believe that. I believe God could be speaking to people right now. I believe God could move on hearts today to do something that I would even deem impossible. But I also believe God in God and his goodness regardless. And I believe in doing the right thing anyway. I believe in doing the good thing anyway. And we've been continuously doing that. In fact, in the 2 years I've been here, the budget has never made sense. We haven't been in a good, great, healthy place where we're more, but we haven't stopped doing good because the money told us to. We've continued to propel, and we said we're going to allow this to be a goodness-led, a force of goodness, and we're going to lead with goodness. We're going to lead with God. We're going to lead with Christ, and we're going to believe that he's big enough to continue to lead us in it and take us out of it. And I believe in the good. I believe in the stories we're currently in the middle of in-house. We're in the middle of some incredible, powerful stories. I told you last time, this was back in October, when the last time we had a Vision Sunday, I told you about this story about Adrian. Adrian is this college kid, and he had this amazing moment, right? This kid was dark. He was in a depressive state. He was in a very dark state. And he said he started coming to church. And he started to come to church. And church started to change something in him. Church started to change his life around, turn his life around. It changed his life and turned his life around so much that Jefferson Community College noticed the shift and wrote this little article about him. And they asked him, they said, hey man, what has changed? And he said, do you see this? I found Jesus and transitioned from a pessimistic perspective to one of deep reflection. And where did he find Jesus? He said, I found Jesus at New Life Christian Church, and it turned my life around. That's incredible. It's incredible. That's what we're able to do. And some of you might go, well, you told us about Adrian before. You already told us that story about Adrian. Yes, we did. But see, what you don't know is the story kept going. In fact, just a couple months ago, Adrian got so caught on fire, and it's been long lasting. We're talking about a year later now. It's lasted over a year. There was consistency in his walk that finally his dad showed up at church with him. His dad was in a dark state. His dad was in a bad state. But he saw something shift in Adrian and said, if that could get you there, then I'm sure. A college kid brought their dad to church, somebody. And he stayed, and then he kept coming back. And a couple of weeks after that, we said, hey, we're going to do this baptism thing. And his dad started to have some real change in him, some actual change in his life. And so he said, whatever this is, I want to keep this going. And so his dad got in the tank 2 weeks ago and got baptized 2 weeks ago. Not only that, Adrian saw the moment, and one of the pastors saw Adrian. He said, get over here. And Adrian, this is a moment where Adrian came and laid hands on his dad and started praying against generational curses in his father. Right here 2 weeks ago that happened. Right here. Woo! That's powerful. That's what we get to do on these Sunday mornings. That's what it's about. It's about actual, real change. We've talked about the Stewart family. The Stewart family is like an iconic family around here. Why? Because they were in such a dark place and they came to such light. But then just 2 weeks ago, they decided we don't want to just keep doing it this way. We want everybody to know about it. And 2 weeks ago, they both got baptized together too. That's the life shift that's continued to happen in their life. There's story after story after story after story. I have this beautiful, powerful letter. I'm actually going to hold on. We'll post it later because I'm trying to save just a little bit of time. But there was a whole story about a girl that she was here for a couple months, and she was in a dark place. And she wrote us a letter as she left, and she said, "You don't understand. I've lived in so much darkness, and this community with so much life." And then she wrote us a hand letter. You can put the picture up actually real fast. I'm just not going to read it this service. She wrote us a whole letter, and she's just depicting how powerful, how amazing, and how her experience at New Life. She's going to another church now, which she's thanking God for, but she's going, "Man, it just isn't New Life. That will forever hold a special place in my heart." And she can't wait to get out of basic training so she can get back to tuning in via Facebook. So we're going to keep giving her some life, some joy, some hope, and some peace through technology. It's incredible the stories we've gotten to be a part of. And that's the good we continue to do in-house. We've also, by the way, we have paid for people's rent. We have paid for people's groceries. Anytime we do get a call about a legitimate need, we are trying our best to fill that need, even though we don't have the money for it right now. Like, I'll make special phone calls to certain people and go, "Hey, I don't know if there's any way you can just give us a little bit more this week because we got some of these needs and we don't have the money for it." That's the type of stuff we're doing. It doesn't include the good we continue to do locally. We showed you the video of Serve Weekend. We could show you another time, or we talk even more about the Christmas giveaway and what that does. It doesn't involve our partners that we continue to partner with Urban Mission, Credo, Habitat for Humanity, and all these types of organizations. It also doesn't include the good we've gotten to do globally. Globally, we've gotten to do some powerful things and be a part of organizations like Convoy of Hope or In Ministries. But also, we got to do this really amazing thing with this organization called Exodus Road. In fact, we gave $10,000 to Exodus Road last year because, again, we believe in leading with goodness. And so we want to make it loud and be proud about that. And we want to get out there and go, "Hey, what type of goodness can we do? Can we continue to push forward into the world?" Exodus Road is an anti-sex trafficking organization. The 6-month run that we just had with them just finished. And I want you to see, here's the final update.
Hello, New Life Church. I am so excited to share an update with you on the incredible way that you as a church have helped the Exodus Road bring freedom to women and children experiencing human trafficking in the Philippines. It's been 6 months since you joined us to support our operations in the Philippines, and before I tell you just how many lives you've helped us impact, I want to share with you one recent story. Increasingly, the crime of human trafficking is one that crosses international borders, and it implicates perpetrators existing simultaneously in multiple countries. Early this year, the Exodus Road's team of Filipino investigators received a request from their contacts at the U.S. Homeland Security. HSI had made an arrest involving U.S. citizens in possession of child sexual abuse material, and there was reason to believe that the 3 children who were victimized were in the Philippines. Together with our partners at the Filipino National Bureau of Investigation and the Anti-Violence Crimes Against Children Division, we developed a coordinated operation that allowed law enforcement to identify the perpetrator, who tragically happened to be mother to one of the children and the aunt of the remaining 2. As well as the 3 children, ages 5, 6, and 9. I'm excited to share that the operation was a success. Law enforcement and the Exodus Road investigators convinced the perpetrator to meet up in person, and they acted swiftly to arrest the woman for her actions. The children were provided with immediate care, and then they were connected with a local aftercare organization coordinated by the Exodus Road. We celebrate that the 3 precious children can receive care and be allowed to heal and recover from the trauma they've experienced. And what I want to say to you, New Life Church, is you helped make that possible. And in fact, those 3 lives, that single story, is only a glimpse of the freedom stories you've helped write, as together, in the past 6 months, we've liberated 27 children and women from human trafficking and arrested 13 perpetrators who are now facing charges for their criminal actions. That, New Life Church, is really good news, and we at the Exodus Road are so grateful for your generosity and your willingness to invest in the work of freedom throughout this collaboration. So from all of us here at the Exodus Road, thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's powerful, and that's amazing. That's what we've gotten to be a part of. See, one thing you can't do, one thing you can't take away is good that has already been done. So I believe that God can do the impossible. And I believe that people like you can rise up. But I also believe that the good that has already been done can't be taken away. And if we have any desire in this room to keep this type of stuff up long term, if you have any desire to keep going on these Sunday services, if you have any desire to keep it going, and not just keep it going, but keep it going up and to the right, but even if you want to maintain it, there's a gap that needs to be filled in. There's a gap that needs to be filled in. And the way that we can do this thing as a community is if we all tithe. Tithe. Sow into it. I love that we get charged up about the life change stories. Get charged up about the things going on. Get charged up about what we're able to do as a community. Get charged up about it, absolutely. And I believe we're genuine in our heartbeat when we get charged up about that. I believe people are feeling something. You're responding to something. You're being inspired by the kingdom of God and what it looks like to be an expression of the kingdom of God. But at the end of the day, that's great. Be inspired, but be inspired to give to it. Be inspired to sow into it. I believe in this church. I believe it's the greatest expression of who God truly is for our community. But if you want to do this, and if you want to do this some more, I'm asking you, and you need to consider tithing. If you want to do this, did you hear the want? The want comes first. If you want to do this and more, you need to consider tithing. I want to speak to a couple people in the room. I want to speak to you if you're in the military. If you're in the military, I'm asking you to sow. I'm asking you to sow into this place. I'm asking you that. And here's the thing. We think about you guys. We think about your experience. We think about the fact that some of you get stopgap here for a year. We think about some of you all here for 2 years. We know that at the maximum, many of you are here for 4 years max. We get it. It's why we go back in, we think through the ways that we can have you even assimilated into our church and have you really be a vital part and feel like this is a community for you. We go back in, we have found ways so that within 4 weeks, 5 weeks, you are all the way involved in. We do that and we think through that quick of a process and what else can we do? And new friends dessert type things. Why? Because from the moment you step foot in here, we want you to have contact. We want you to have community. We want you to know that there's a community here that loves and cares for you and wants to be here for you while you're here. We mean that. And at the same time, I'm asking you to care for us too. I'm asking you to sow as well. I'm asking you to sow into this place and into this space while you're here. Make this your home church while you're here. Because we consider you that to us. You're going to be family to us while you're here. We think through the way we run our church because of you. Listen, if you're deconstructing, if you were deconstructing in the room, I want to talk to you for a second. You're deconstructing, you're on your way back. I know we have a good chunk of people in our church that are deconstructing on the way back. I get it because I get all the questions and all the doubts and you're afraid of manipulation. You might show up to a service like this and be like, see, I knew it. I want you to hear this. No, you didn't. We were transparent. That's what you're afraid of is non-transparency. That's what I'm afraid of is non-transparency. What I'm afraid of is manipulation, is someone not telling me what's really going on. Well, let me just tell you, we just told you what was going on. We were utterly transparent. One more time? No? Kind of, okay. We're willing to be transparent. I'm not trying to trick anybody. I don't care about tricks. That's not why I'm in this thing. I'm in this because I have a genuine relationship with a really good God, and I can't shut up about it, and I can't stop telling people about it. And every time I keep telling people about it, more people show up, and I want to tell them about it. And it's a really good, beautiful thing, and I believe it could change your life. And once it changes your life, I believe it could change the person's life next to you, and that person, and that person, and that person. And all along the way, we can really fill needs, and we can become this beautiful picture of what God's kingdom and what God is really all about, which is about restoring and healing and loving this earth and everything and everyone in it. That's why we do it. That's why we're here. I don't care where you're coming from, your background, if it's from a different religion, wherever you're coming from. Wherever you're coming from. Take a percentage and set it aside. That's what I'm asking. It's really clear. Take a percentage, set it aside. This is the ask. Show up often, serve consistently, and sow generously. That's the church ask, ultimately. That's the church. You want to be a part of it? Hey, how do I become a vibrant part of this community? Show up often, serve consistently. Serve consistently doesn't mean all the time. Once a month is consistent. Twice a month is consistent. Great. Just consistency. Really helpful. And then sow generously. And I would add sow generously and consistently. Consistency Consistently, super, super, super helps. And I want to say one last thing. There's two people in this room I'm not talking to. There's two different types of people in this room I'm not talking to. Because I'm going to pastor for a moment. Sometimes I hate that I have a pastor's heart because it gets me in trouble when I'm asking for money. But there's two types of people I need to pastor for a second. First is this. If you've been coming to the church and you've been sowing for years and you've already been going on above and beyond, there are people in this room that have been coming and sowing and you've been going above and beyond. I am not asking you to give more. It is not your job to try to sustain an entire community that's needy and greedy. Oops, I said that out loud. It's not. It's not your job. Do not walk out of here and feel like I'm asking you to nickel another nickel or dime another dime. You've done amazing. You've done incredible. And all that we want to say is thank you to you for getting us here. I'm asking you to continue. It's honest. But I'm not asking for more from you. And again, one more time, church, you can thank the people who keep giving. Go ahead, thank them. Because it's the reason you have a service today. The second type of person I want to just pastor real quick, real briefly, is if your back is against the wall. I mean, you got nothing. You like, I am surviving on the can of black beans. Okay, I don't want you to leave this space. Typically, for whatever reason, people that you get into, like, they're the ones with the actual bleeding hearts. They're like, and I don't want you to leave with any shame. I don't want you to leave with any burden. You don't need to carry yourself out these walls and go, I'm not good enough. I can't. I'm scraping for every dime and I'm not talking to you. Listen, keep working on your life, position yourself into a different place, and maybe we could talk again another year, but I'm not talking to you. It's not for you. But to everybody else, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. If that's not you, how do I know? How do I know if that's me? Well, one, if you haven't been giving above and beyond for a couple years, it might be you. And two, if you're drinking Starbucks twice a week, it's you. Stuff $6 now, okay? $6 for my little crack cocaine, caffeine thing, whatever. If you're eating out twice a week, that's you. That's you. That's who I'm talking to. That's it. And all I'm asking is this. If you want these Sunday mornings, if you want to keep having these Sunday mornings, give to it. If you want to actually help people in need in this room, give to it. If you want the kids thing, you want the full-time kids, you want to be able to drop your little kid off, come in here, enjoy this thing, give to it. You want velocity for your middle schooler? Give to it. If one day you would love a high school group for your high schooler, do you know what I'm going to say? Give to it. Give to it. If you want to fill needs in-house, give to it. If you want to keep filling needs locally, if you want to keep doing events like Serve Weekend and Christmas Giveaway, it's okay. The word is hard to say, but I promise you can pronounce it. The word is give. Everybody say give. Give to it. Give to it. If you want to continue to do this Exodus Road type stuff, give to it. You could actually change the lives of both people you know and people you'll never meet. And I don't know about you, but that's super powerful. Now, there's a practical way you can do this, because if you leave this room and you're inspired, but you don't actually go give to it, it doesn't do anything. So the practical way that you can do this is you download our Church Center app like Daniel Pena talked to us about. You can download the Church Center app, or you can go to the Connections booth and they'll get you all wired up for this. Or you can go online, newlifeny.com. There's a big click to give now button. And again, the more you can set your frequency to regular and do it consistently, the more it helps us game plan things out and allow us to fill more needs and continue to steward this house the way that it's meant to be stewarded. So that's it. But don't leave and not do it. Don't leave inspired, or don't leave challenged, don't leave convicted, because some of us need to be challenged and convicted today. And that's okay. That's all right. Just change. Just shift it. Find a percentage. What I'd love to ask is that everybody find a way to tithe. Yes, that means reposition. That means sacrifice some of the good things that you want. Me and my wife, we have not been in the best space. I know you heard our income, but man, it's been a little tight for us. We sacrificed some things we wanted because we really care and value this house. And we're going to keep doing that. So yeah, sacrifice a couple wants, sacrifice a couple desires, find a percentage. I would ask that you look for 10%. If you really can't make 10% work, then do 8%, do 7%, do 5%. But find some type of percentage and give to it. Give to it. Because if we all give, I can promise you that Malachi 3 thing, test me, we will go out, man, we will clothe the naked, we will feed the hungry, we will go visit those in prison, we will continue to fill needs in house, we'll continue to preach the life and the joy and the hope of Jesus Christ, we will continue to do the mission that God has given us for so long, and we will continue to steward that, we will continue to push that forward, and I'm telling you, we'll see it at levels we've never seen it before in this community, and it will be because a body of people decided to give to it. God, I thank you for this service. I thank you for what we continue to be blessed to do. God, I pray that we really would steward this calling. Abraham was blessed to be a blessing. So I pray that we would really hold that tightly. God, that we would recognize that the church is not just a staff that's trying to put this thing on and all tithe. The church is everybody that just showed up in their seats today. I pray that we would be challenged, we would be convicted, we would be inspired. But God, I pray that we would give to it. I pray that you would continue to make the impossible become possible, that the invisible would become visible, and the natural would become supernatural through this place as we continue to progress Jesus Christ and make him loud and clear for everybody in this community. I pray for that in Jesus' name. Everybody said, amen. Amen. Thank you for being here, guys. And listen, we're going to get back. Next week is the beginning of the series, There I Found Him. It's going to be powerful. We are going to sit in the presence of God. I'm so excited for it. We'll see you next week. Love you all.